This season, Camila Cardoso performed what every WNBA player ought to have done but failed to. To be honest, it's time for someone to lose it.
So lads, today we're watching something that was kind of insane in the women's CBA, which is obviously the Chinese basketball league. We are witnessing for lack of a better way of describing it, a good old-fashioned fight breakout on the court from Camila Cardoso.
We are discussing a full-fledged brawl that occurred in the Chinese basketball league. Referees struggled to hold her back as she tugged at her hair and shoved. The problem is that no one is discussing it. She pursued the incorrect individual. But after being treated with such Cardoso drives to the basket and is completely pulled by her arm. When a 6 feet 7 inches center is being mistreated, she eventually reaches her breaking point. Strikes a defender head-on. She is still attempting to get past the officials who are dragging her back. This isn't a gentle shove. This is the highest level of hostility.
She gets yanked down by the hair, gets up, and goes for the wrong person. That's my favorite part of this. She goes for the wrong person. Like, this defender doesn't really do... This defender grabs her arm, but someone from behind gets her by the hair and yanks her down. So Camila Cardoso runs up and goes for the wrong person. Has the referees drag her apart.
This is when things start to get interesting. The comments are going crazy. Some claim that she overreacted, that this is unfair, and that it's only basketball. However, let's discuss the actual events of this WNBA season. Caitlin Clark was hip-checked into another dimension, as we witnessed. We witnessed rookies being closed off. Veterans were throwing elbows as if it were mixed martial arts. You know what everyone did, too? They grinned. They said nothing. They accepted it. Throughout the season, Cardoso was said to being soft. And you know what? Just criticism. When it counted, she didn't physically appear, but now that she's in China, she's displaying a different side. All of a sudden, everyone is holding onto their pearls. Come on. She wasn't even seized by the defender she pursued. That's the crazy thing. Cardoso simply charged forward toward the nearest person once someone made touch from behind. The appropriate energy, but the wrong goal. Can you really blame her in the heat of the moment? Let's be honest about something. Nobody is harmed in this kind of fight. Do you know what really hurts athletes? Careless plays that are never called. Defenders drop to their knees. On layups, players are being undercut. Careers are ended by that crap. A shoving match. That is simply a competitive fire. The game versus Aaliyah Boston is frequently brought up as if it were a gotcha moment. Where did this anti-Boston energy go? This is an unpleasant reality, though. In fact, Cardoso has performed outstandingly versus Boston. 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 24 minutes in the season's first game. Boston was at a loss for words. The story that Cardoso vanishes in the face of elite competition is based on selective recollection. However, let's take a moment to zoom out. What is the true significance of this altercation? It indicates that Cardoso is fed up with being mistreated. It indicates that she is making a name for herself abroad. It implies that everyone has a soft label attached to her. She is making a concerted effort to shed it. The WNBA is not the same as the Chinese league. There is far less competition. There is a difference in the physicality. Games are called differently by the officials. You know what is universal, though? Be respectful. Additionally, you've earned it when you're outscoring the opposition by 29 points and making them play frantic defense. Here are some things that the WNBA ought to have done more of this season. Players defending themselves within the rules, not altercations or ejections. Do you wish to send a message? Raise your elbows during the subsequent possession. Construct a hard screen. Box out forcefully. Being physically active can be done without getting suspended. The issue is that we've developed a culture where young players and rookies are expected to just take their lumps, earn their stripes, and absorb punishment. If they react, they're seen as immature, soft, and incapable of handling the league. There is no way to win. Cardoso's response wasn't typical. From a basketball perspective, that was probably not a wise. That there are repercussions if you confront them. She had to be forcibly restrained by the officials. She was really enraged. She is a large human person, so it is difficult to keep her back. However, many say they want to see that ferocity. We gripe about players who are not competitive enough, too amiable, and too buddy-buddy. When someone expresses genuine emotion, we are taken aback. The responses on social media are telling, so let's discuss them. Half the comments are praising her for standing up for herself. The other half are calling it embarrassing. What does that tell me, you know? This made me uncomfortable. People have opinions because, deep down, everyone recognizes that this year's physical play in women's basketball has gotten out of hand.
She's there in China. She's making sure you don't get to fuck with her. Like if you go and hit her with a dirty play or what she deems to be a dirty play, you're gonna feel it. She's gonna make it known. I would love to see players in this scenario.
A. It is accurate to draw comparisons to JCS Sheldon's plays. Penetrating someone's knees from behind. That is legitimately risky. Ligaments may be torn by that. Seasons may cease as a result. However, it doesn't garner as much media attention as a pushing match. The wrong things have us furious. This is the time to face truth. It is not unexpected that Cardoso went to China and dominated. Last year, her team took home a championship. Although she has been productive, the figures require context because the level of play is lower. This year's Euro League has also been disappointingly lackluster. It was won by Prague the previous year, but this season has been difficult. There is Bree Jones, but she doesn't appear to be herself. Despite being adored by her teammates, KK didn't have the effect that others had anticipated. However, none of that lessens the impact of Cardoso's actions. She is traveling abroad. She is improving. She's displaying a different aspect of herself. Indeed, she is demonstrating her refusal to be coerced. That is important for her growth. What will happen when she returns to the WNBA is the more important question. Does she carry this edge with her? Does she return to the passive player we saw last season, or does she play with more aggression? Since that is the actual test. In the face of poor competition, anyone can prevail. Whether this foreign experience translates is the question. This moment is meaningless if Cardoso returns the following season and plays soft once more. However, if she exhibits this hostility, this resistance to be treated disrespectfully, and this readiness to stand her ground, everything is altered. That's what separates a role player from a real powerhouse in the league. She must be that player for the Sky. There's a reason they drafted her high. They require an internal presence. They require a player who can physically compete with the top centers in the league. And when things go tough, they need someone who won't give up. This is what no one wants to acknowledge. With an edge, basketball is better. When players have real animosity, it's better. When cheap shots have repercussions, it's preferable. We need players who aren't scared to stake their ground, but we don't need fights to break out every game. In several aspects, the WNBA has become gentler, but it has also become more tangible in others. Although players are hitting harder, neither they nor their teammates are defending themselves. Everyone is attempting to hurt each other, but no one wants to confront anyone about it, which creates an odd dynamic. Cardoso's response may have been excessive. She may have pursued the wrong individual. She may have been subject to a fine or suspension, but you know what else she did? Her message was sent. Do not put me to the test. Don't assume that I'm weak. Don't expect that I'll just accept it. The opposing team will think twice the next time she finds herself in a similar circumstance. Thus that message is more important than most people realize. They'll recall that she's ready to take a stand. They'll be aware that you have a boundary. The most amusing aspect of the entire scenario is that she initially seemed genuinely unsure about whom to pursue. Like she chooses a target, spins around attempting to determine who grabbed her, then simply leaves. If it weren't so dramatic, it would be almost humorous. However, that is genuine emotion. That person is responding instinctively and is truly frustrated. The dynamics are not understood by those who say, "Bring this energy to the W." She would be immediately suspended by the WNBA. The penalties would be enormous. There would be tremendous media attention. It's a different climate with different repercussions in China. It is neither right nor bad because of this. It simply makes it unique. However, the core message remains. The truth is that she scored 29 points in this game, making her someone opponents detest. She was preparing food. She could not be stopped. Dominated. What's the lesson, then? Cardoso demonstrated that she is no longer a passive player. She's gaining an advantage, even if it didn't turn out perfectly. When she rejoins the WNBA, the question is whether she will be able to effectively channel that intensity. This is the problem with being called soft. It adheres. It is difficult to shake. After Cardoso's debut season, opinions regarding her were formed. A single scuffle in China won't alter that opinion, but a whole WNBA season of constant violent play would. The Sky need her to cause trouble for enemy teams, not by fighting, but by playing dominating physical basketball, posting up hard, grabbing rebounds with authority, setting bone-crushing screens, and aggressively guarding the rim. You get rid of the soft label in this way. In China, this moment is fleeting. The drama is the reason it went viral. However, her career is not defined by it. What she does in the upcoming season and beyond will define her career. Does she find inspiration in this? Does she return with a greater appetite? Does she disprove the skeptics? Or does she return as the same player who vanished during crucial periods in the previous campaign? Since that is the true test. After being treated disrespectfully, anyone can leave. The true difficulty lies in maintaining that level of energy game after game without going overboard and getting suspended or ejected. Every year, the WNBA becomes more physically demanding. More contact is being allowed by the referees. Rookies are continuously put to the test by the veterans, and if you don't establish yourself as someone who pushes back, you'll be pushed around your entire profession. Cardoso finds himself in a difficult situation. She can gain that advantage and return as a different player thanks to this international experience. Alternatively, she may return to her quiet demeanor and validate everyone's perception of her softness. She has the option. One thing is certain, though, people were talking about this time. It sparked debate. It made people aware of Cardoso's activities abroad. And sometimes that focus is just what a player needs to keep improving. So, is this fight warranted? Is it too much? Is it embarrassing? To be honest, it's all three, but it's also human. It's also realistic and precisely what occurs when someone is pushed too far. The true query isn't whether this particular instance was correct or not. What really counts for Cardoso's career and legacy in the WNBA is what follows after. To be absolutely honest, I don't give a damn about a single altercation in China. What matters to me is whether she successfully reintroduces the league's competitive spirit, as this is what sets exceptional players apart from mediocre ones. Your centers should be strong. You want them to be tangible. You want them to become dominant by relentless, aggressive basketball that unnerves opponents rather than by fighting. If Cardoso is able to channel, she will be just the player the Sky needs her to be if she puts her intensity into her game without the turmoil. If she is unable to do so, she will become simply another gifted player who is unable to consistently enforce her will. She has the option. There is possibility. The actual tools are present. It now comes down to mindset, perseverance, and demonstrating that she is more than a single viral moment in China. What are your thoughts? Was she right? Was it excessive? More importantly, will she be able to use this aggression to win basketball when she returns to the WNBA? I want to hear both sides of this argument, so please share your ideas in the comments.